I am trying to broaden my horizons and I am open to new hobbies provided they do not cost a fortune. Wow, not even 10 minutes and already a ton of great ideas. Thank you all. Story 1. Writing is basically free. You can learn a lot of different things and you might even end up selling whatever you write, whether it is a novel, poetry, or a blog. Anything is possible. Story 2. Depends. I got a grind wheel used for $20 and every 4 months, I buy an Ethiopian opal lot on eBay for about $15, usually under 10 millimeters but looking nice. I grind them shiny and sell them online. I keep the nicest ones and with the money coming in, I buy the next lot. So far, I invested only the initial $35 because it finances itself. Rarely you find a higher grade in your lot. After grinding, I sell it and can take my partner out to a fancy dinner, so far 3 times in 2 years. Story 3. Hiking, walking, biking, any form of exercise. Learning an instrument. Gardening. Story 4. It is possible to garden for cheap, but I do not. I love my drip irrigation system and owning gardening tools. I ended up getting into trail building, which requires an additional set of tools. Once I have all of these, I am not spending much. Story 5. If you are interested in making things, look around you for a blacksmithing association. It is an expensive hobby to set up on your own, but if there is a group near you working on keeping the trade alive, then it costs next to nothing. Story 6. Cooking. If you are on a budget, learn to develop or remake a recipe with as little money as possible. You would be surprised at how many ingredients can be replaced with their cheaper counterparts. Story 7. I really like knitting. A couple of dollars worth of yarn can provide hours of entertainment when you are as slow at it as I am. Jogging is also a good activity. You need a pair of shoes that will prevent stress fractures, but everything else is optional. You can jog in jeans and a normal t-shirt. Story 8. Cooking, but more than that, baking. Bread and baked goods are some of the most expensive items you buy relative to the cost of the raw ingredients because of the time and labor involved. Learning how to do it at home will save you a lot of money, and they are some of the most impressive things to bring or give as a gift. Story 9. Productive hobby? What is that? Gardening. Building houses for Habitat for Humanity? 99% of hobbies are for fun or relaxation, not for productivity. Story 10. Cooking is a good skill. There can be some expensive ingredients if you get really fancy, but learning to cook inexpensive things very well can be delicious and rewarding. Story 11. What is your definition of does not cost a fortune? Personally, I do not care much about initial costs as long as I do not have high running costs. Drone videography can be quite enjoyable, depending on where you live. You can get a decent drone for around €250 and use free software. I also like 3D printing, which has about the same initial cost for a decent printer. After that, you just need filament. It can be combined with learning 3D design so you can print your own creations. It is also quite useful if you can replace some plastic parts yourself when needed. Story 12. Fishing can be affordable, especially in the beginning. A cheap rod and reel from Walmart or a similar store, along with a variety pack of lures and hooks, can be enough to start. As you become more experienced, you may choose to invest more money in specific equipment. Story 13. Cross-stitching offers endless patterns that you can find, buy, or create yourself. The supplies, including Ida cloth, embroidery floss, needles, and a hoop, are very inexpensive. In the end, you have cool, personalized wall art or gifts. Story 14. Gardening. Buy some inexpensive pots from the thrift store or reuse items you already have. Get a few packets of seeds and grow some beautiful flowers or herbs. Story 15. Dancing provides exercise and socialization. It usually costs about $10 to attend a social dance, with an additional $10 for the preceding lesson. Story 16. Papercraft. All you need is the internet, a small pair of scissors, a printer, or a place that can print items for you at a reasonable low cost and time. You can scale it up by using fancier paper, a small ruler, a cutting mat, and an X-Acto or hobby knife. Find something simple to build your confidence, then work your way up to larger items which can also serve as decorations for your home. If you use good quality paper, you can even paint over them. There are many free papercraft templates available online, from Pokemon to Gundam, so it depends on how creative you want to be. Story 17, Learn Bridge, the card game. One of the best applications I found for a beginner is Tricky Bridge. It has short bridge lessons and challenges, each focusing on bidding, play, or strategy of the card game bridge. The bridge robots are somewhat cartoonish, but the lessons are good. After you have learned the basics, find a local bridge center. Story 18. On Amazon, I found that I can buy 100 copper gears and key beads for under $20. That, plus some rubber cement, opened my hobby of making steampunk-inspired jewelry and accessories. I think my total investment was maybe $50 with all the glue and the different sticks used to apply it. Many people have offered money for some of what I make, but I usually just give it away for free. Story 19. Gourmet and healthy eating by preparing your own food is not as hard as media, chefs, and cookbooks make it to be. It can be mastered quickly, allowing you to eat healthy and gourmet at home for the cost of fast food. It is also faster than going out, waiting for delivery, or picking up food. Lifting heavy weights at the gym, if you have an affordable gym nearby. Learning to play acoustic guitar. A decent used guitar, such as a Yamaha, costs about $150, and lessons are available for free online. Managing personal finances saves you a significant amount of money. After mastering personal finances, learn to invest your hard-earned savings. The Bogleheads community makes investing easy and simple. Story 20. I highly recommend hiking and nature walks. I like to visit different hiking areas, nature reserves, and national parks around my home region. Many places can be reached easily even with public transportation, which makes it more affordable, although this is in Europe, so I know that is not possible everywhere. I bring a backpack with a light picnic and extra clothes, as well as binoculars, primarily for bird watching but also to spot other interesting things. As an amateur, you can generally get by very well with inexpensive handheld binoculars from the local department store. I also use the free bird song application Merlin Bird Identification to identify birds that I hear. The application is very accurate most of the time and educational. There are regional versions depending on where you live. Nowadays, you can use your phone to accurately identify most things in nature. However, if you become more interested, I still recommend getting basic physical field guides to birds and flowers, either to take with you or to use when you get home. I personally love to know exactly what species I see and hear in nature, and it makes me feel more present in the moment. I also like to take many photos of nature and sometimes write about especially beautiful places for my blog or social media. This is also a way to gather your thoughts and remember the place and your experiences even better. Story 21. Photography can be affordable. You can find high-quality used cameras and lenses at a reasonable price. However, it can also be quite expensive. I enjoy photography because it is a hobby that documents your life, your loved ones, and your favorite things. It is practical and captures beautiful moments you can look back on and relive. Story 22. Another vote for knitting. You know you are being productive when you make your own socks. Synthetic yarns cost less but are much less enjoyable to work with compared to wool. Wool has a nice built-in stretch. There are many tutorials to help you get started. Do yourself a favor and learn the continental method, not the English method. Story 23. A lot of hobbies are as expensive as you want them to be. They become expensive if you get persuaded into buying all the shiny equipment. Unless you are trying to get into a hobby with a high financial barrier to entry, such as cars or airplanes, most hobbies do not need to be expensive if you use common sense. Story 24. Magnet fishing. A magnet costs about $20, and everyone has rope somewhere. Bottle collecting is free. If you look at public land records, you can find old bottle dumps in wooded areas and properties that had old buildings, additions, or outhouses. Some antique bottles can be very valuable. The downside to these hobbies is that you get really dirty. Story 25. Reading will definitely make you smarter as long as you are not reading children's books. A single purchase of a musical instrument can do wonders for your stress levels, even if you are not skilled. I am not good at playing, but I can feel my blood pressure drop when I am playing music. Story 26. Exercise is a very inexpensive hobby that pays off in years of healthy living, whether it is cardiovascular exercise, weightlifting, or a combination of both. It is the best investment in your body when done correctly and with dedication. Combine healthy eating, and you are really getting the best of it. Reading expands your mind and makes you a great resource for knowledge for yourself and others. Whether nonfiction or fiction, stay on top of the latest topics and trends, or dive into the vast knowledge of books that have been written over the centuries. The potential here is limitless, and it is practically free. Story 27. Art. Some art supplies are expensive, but you can learn to draw with any pencil and paper you have available. Story 28. Birding is kind of all over the place. There is a free app called Merlin that does a reasonably good job of identifying birds either with a photo or by sound. I mostly like the flexibility. Birds are basically everywhere. You can sit in your backyard or look out the window and watch birds. You can go for a walk around your neighborhood or a park. You can incorporate it into other hobbies like hiking, camping, gardening, photography, or traveling. You can make a day of it or spend just a few minutes. You can find groups or go solo. You can buy a $2,000 camera or just use your eyes, some binoculars, or your phone. I do not know if you would call it productive, but it is relaxing and also kind of funny once your bird brain is built and you cannot unhear specific calls. Story 29. I'll list mine. Some are inexpensive, some change your life. I'll list them in order of how meaningful and happy they've made me. Racing can be inexpensive but is almost universally costly. It can become a profession with many avenues. This is where my heart is. It has paid me back. Some areas within racing are free. Video games can be inexpensive or a bit more costly. I spend time talking to all of my friends online 3 to 4 nights a week. It makes me smile often. Welding can be moderately inexpensive and can also provide enough to retire early. I have had an extremely fulfilling career that started as a hobby. I also have considerable experience as a motorsports fabricator. Playing an instrument can be very inexpensive. I used to love it, but not so much anymore. Cooking. I'm the cook wherever I go, and I never mean to be. It's really rewarding, can foster new friendships, cultivate a friend group, and give you something to tinker with endlessly. Hiking and camping. I go solo and love it. Usually fairly inexpensive. Three-dimensional modeling and three-dimensional printing. About $500. I did a little game development that started with three-dimensional printing. Three-dimensional printing has paid for itself. Drawing and painting. I used to love it. Now I'm indifferent. It's fun when you're learning. Can be very therapeutic. Competition shooting. I loved it when I was getting faster. Now I'm just maintaining. It's a good break with friends. Somewhat costly. Disc golf. It's not that bad to be honest. Working out. I was obsessed for 15 years. I learned many good eating habits that helped me look like I didn't peak that long ago. I have more, but food is here. Story 30. Wood carving is very peace-inducing. You can lose a whole day curling burls away to reveal the shape underneath. It absorbs me into a no-mind state. You can get a detail knife and a roughing knife for $20 each. You can get plenty of basswood from online marketplaces for about $20. Enough to last for months. Later, you can use what you learn doing reliefs and more intricate carvings, which will require gouges and other tools. But at first, it only costs $20 for each knife, $20 for wood, a strop, and a stone, both inexpensive, and that's it. This setup could last you for years. Drawing is nice and affordable too. Buying art books can be expensive, but you can find them cheap used or borrow them from the library. A pencil set and some Strathmore paper can cost around $30 and last a long time. Story 31. Walking, cooking, baking, and animal or plant spotting in nature are all fairly inexpensive activities. You need to eat anyway, so cooking has a consistent budget. Flour and yeast are inexpensive, making baking bread and similar items affordable. For walking and enjoying nature, you just need to go outside. Good shoes and a coat are recommended, but you do not need them at the beginning since you likely already have these. For animal and plant spotting, free applications are available. Binoculars can be helpful for observing animals. Some animals, like birds, cannot be approached closely, and others, such as bears and other predators, should be observed from a safe distance. Bears look amazing from afar. Story 32. Truthfully, the most fulfilling hobby I can think of is electronics. And I don't mean playing them, repairing and building them. Parts are very cheap, and once you get your hand around soldering and desoldering, it will open up a great amount of opportunity. A good soldering setup, solder, flux, and helping hands cost less than $200. Equivalent series resistance tester costs around $150. A multimeter is not necessary to be fancy to start. PlayStation 5 controller has stick drift. Now, instead of $75 for a new controller, $10 for new sticks. Wash your motherboard on the fritz. Leave that $300 or more new motherboard on the shelf. It is most likely a 5-cent capacitor. Get good enough and you can literally build and repair anything. It is fantastic. Story 33. Visit your local library. They have plenty of free and low-cost resources, including reading materials, puzzles, and social events. Some libraries also offer resources to learn skills such as three-dimensional printing. Story 34. Gardening. Buy a bag of soil for approximately $5. Recycle used coffee cups. Save seeds from foods you buy at the store such as peppers, tomatoes, and heads of lettuce. Then plant accordingly and maintain. If you expand, contact a local landscaping company or nursery to see if they have spare used pots for plants. Before long, you will be giving away produce. Story 35. Fishing is low cost if you have some self-control. I happen to lack that trait personally, but the point stands. Story 36. Mountain biking. Initial buy-in can be a bit rough, but after that, the cost is not too dramatic. You could also get into walking or bushwalking. Story 37. Fermenting food is time-consuming, but the results are amazing. Find your favorite foods to ferment and start slowly to get it right. Sauerkraut, pickles, ginger ale, and kimchi are among my favorites. I have a kimchi recipe that is wonderful. Story 38. Recently, I started doing paint by numbers. I use an artificial intelligence art generator to come up with things I would like to paint and then send them to a company that makes custom kits. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.